Okay, so welcome to episode 2 of Humans of Rocks. We've actually got a name for it now. And today we are heading down to Surrey. We've got a really exciting athlete coming up on the show today. So we are heading to train with and meet Elite 15 athlete Kate Davey. I've been lucky to be in a few relay teams with Kate where we've set world records in the past. We had some good fun. We went out to Stuttgart together where she was racing in the pro and I was racing in an open race at the start of the season. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting. We're going to go down to the facility that she trains at and also works at. We're going to learn a little bit more about what her life looks like outside of being in the Elite 15, about her family life, and then we've got a really cool activity that we're going to be doing together as well. So come down with us, and yeah, first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing part 2 of Kate's training session today. So we are here with Kate Davey. Kate, thank you so much for having us. This facility is incredible, by the way. We'll probably get to have a little look around. We just had a little tour. Very, very impressive. We're joining you for session 2 today, right? So what have you already done this morning?
This morning I did threshold runs.
Yeah.
And off the back of my threshold runs, I had a row that I had to do for a certain distance and a certain pace, and then another little run afterwards. So I've already done that because it was probably a bit boring to film me just running. And then session
What have we got now?
2, I've got some row thresholds that I'm going to do. So are you ski
I'm jumping
threshing?
on the ski, yeah.
You need to practice your ski,
Mine is my weakness, so it's probably for the best. I'm better at rowing, yeah.
And then we have an EMOM with wall balls.
Yeah, I was fearing you'd say that, yeah. Okay, I've already been beaten by Zara on something like this previously, so you can destroy me as well, yeah.
Then I've got some back squats and then a little bit of sort of core work.
Cool. A lot of lower limb stuff for a man who doesn't have lower limbs, so I look forward to that. Okay. Well, we're going to get into it and then we will join you afterwards. Good job, thank you for that. Loved it. Every moment of it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, no, it's good. I always love training with people, and it's incredible to see the fact that that's your second session of the day, of a week where you've probably already trained a high volume. That's what the elite guys got to do, right? That's how you get there to the top. And obviously,
I love that last set, like knowing that I can tick all those boxes.
yeah, amazing. Like I don't know if we've got any of it on.
So it is warm in here.
Yeah.
So
I'm absolutely sweating my nuts up in the skier.
So when I come in the morning, I put the heating on to 24 and a half.
Right.
And I heat the gym up, and then so it's now off, but the heat obviously stays, especially when you're training. But I just find that when I go to venues, so for instance, Hong Kong was, even though it wasn't hot when we were there, it was quite humid.
Humid, yeah.
And if I'm just used to training in the heat, then it's quite a nice surprise if a venue is cool. So Amsterdam was actually quite cool, so that was actually quite a nice surprise. Whilst if I go to a venue where it's hot, I'm used to training and sort of getting my sweat on. So I actually quite like training in the heat. So
yeah, it's amazing to see what someone who's competing at your level, like the small intricate things that you think about So I'm training in a garage that's 3 degrees. Like I didn't even think about training in the heat.
But I'm lucky because obviously in a gym you couldn't go in and say, can you turn the heating up, because all the members would go nuts.
Yeah.
I'm lucky that it's just me, so I can almost taper the conditions in here to how I want them, because it's just me in here. Obviously, then I get a client in, so I make sure I have to open the windows.
Please turn it down.
But my best friend, Annabelle, comes in and trains, but it's really funny, she likes the heat anyway. So she'll text me in the morning and say, have you got the heating on? And I'm like, yeah, she's like, I'm coming in.
Right, well, that's training done. Let's shower, go and get some food. Nice one, thank you, Kate, that was good, enjoyed that.
Thank you.
So massive thank you to X Endurance for sponsoring this YouTube series. You can check them out using the link below, and using my code Ciaran20, you can get yourself 20% discount. My favourite products are the hydro sticks. I think the raspberry one is probably one of the nicest hydros that you can get on the market, and electrolyte products you can get on the market. They also sell things like lactic acid buffers, energy gels, anything you need basically if you're a HYROX athlete looking to take your supplement game to the next level. So check them out in the link below. Obviously we've seen your amazing facility. A lot of people don't know what you do outside of being in the Elite 15.
So now do you understand why I'm Precision Golf Kate?
Yes, now I kind of get it.
That's one of the most asked questions. So originally it used to be, do you climb rocks because of HYROX?
Yeah, okay.
That question stopped, but everyone always asks, like, what's with your Instagram name? And obviously because I train anybody, but it's mainly focused towards golf. And I have some cool golfers on my client list that I train who are some of the world's top golfers.
Yeah.
And
are we allowed to know any names? Or?
Well, most people know that I train Charlie Hull, Todd Clements, Georgia Hall.
Yeah, sick.
So that's obviously the Precision Golf. Obviously you've seen the facility. It's like a hospital for golfers really, because you can get your swing fixed, you can get your clubs built, you can have your biomechanics done, you can have strength and conditioning, you can have a golf lesson. So it's obviously all focused around golf. And that's obviously why I'm Precision Golf Kate, because I work at Precision Golf. And at that point in my life, I wasn't into HYROX.
Yeah.
And then recently, a few people have said about changing my handle.
Right.
But now I just don't know if it's kind of like...
It's your thing.
It's my thing, and it's a bit different. So I think I leave it.
Yeah. And then in terms of like how much coaching you do a week, like are you quite booked out, or you do all the coaching you want to do in theory?
I won't go over 6 clients in a day.
Yeah.
Try not
Which
to
is
anyway.
still punchy on top of like all that training, right?
Yeah, and then some days I try and keep a little bit freer. But I have weeks, so this week I've got a few of them away on tour. So Charlie, who would come and see me probably 5-6 times a week.
Yeah.
She's away this week. We're going this way. So I have some weeks. So next week she's back. A few others are back. So next week's quite punchy.
Yeah.
So it sort of ebbs and flows, and that's quite nice.
And how does that affect your training? So like if you've got a week where you've got a really packed out week with coaching and stuff like that, are you having to dial down your training, or are you just having to adapt?
No, I'll adapt. I always get my training
I knew the answer to the question before I even asked it.
How could you not?
You're I'll get up at 3:30 in the morning to get it done kind of person, right? If it has to be done like that.
Yeah.
Nice, amazing.
No one misses you at that time.
No, well, I don't know. In my house, it's a little bit different. There's normally someone crying at 3:30 in the morning between me, Becca, Monroe, and Nelly.
It's probably Becca.
Yeah, no, that's never happened to me. I'm literally by the meat. I enjoy running to it. Like this, to me, would be like the perfect role. It's like nice and cool, sunny, dry. This would get me up for going outside and doing running, to be fair.
Yeah, I find it sometimes when I'm doing them early morning and it's been dark and cold and wet, you have
That's
to...
mental. Like, that's
you have to psych yourself up. But once you're out in it...
It's fine.
And you've warmed up. But the thing that gets me is even with gloves on, my hands, when it's been that cold recently, they don't warm up until about 14 kilometres.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I'm nearly done now. What are you snacking on at lunch?
I am probably just going to have some form of meal deal, I would have thought, from here. Maybe a pasta. What have you got? It's salmon pasta, I saw.
Yeah, a little bit of pasta, broccoli, peas, salmon.
Have you got a meal prep company now? I've seen.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, they send me X
Look
amount
good,
of
that.
meals
Yeah.
a month. Yeah, they're
My
two
problem with
chefs.
those kind of things is, because I've done them before, and for someone like me who's, I'm eating like almost 4,000 calories a day, you spend like a lot of money on it, and then you still have to go and do your weekly shop still, because you still need to supplement the rest of the calories.
When I started playing golf, I was on a course, and the guy who'd been coaching me was on the course, and there was a couple of our mates, and because I was new to golf, there was like some people on the tee somewhere else waiting, and I was hitting, like I went to hit my next shot, and I was like looking at my bag, and I didn't really know, and I knew what the distance was, so I looked at my bag and I shouted across the course. I went, "Is it my worth?" And they all just went like this. They're like, "Oh my God, has she just shouted that across the course?" They're like, "Yeah, just use that." And then these guys were on the tee waiting to tee off elsewhere, and they kind of were looking at me like, "Oh,
no, it's your sir."
and then I hit this ball, and it went to about that far by the pin, and I just went, "Oh," put it back in and walked off. And they said the response of these, they just sort of went like that, as in, how can she be so clueless and hit it so close to the pin? So forevermore, it's now been known as my work. Yeah. Yay!
There we go. Right, Kate, so we have discussed, obviously, your work and golf. What we haven't discussed is Kate the mum. So tell us a little bit more about the kids and stuff.
I have a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Yep.
So my daughter is 7.
Bumble and Squish.
Yeah, Bumble and Squish. And
By the way, cracking shot from me.
I kind of needs a high five. Annabelle heavily into ballet, dancing. George very much into his running, athletics.
We were talking about this earlier, weren't there? How we think that kids are the product of their environment, right?
Yeah, totally. So he'll go out for a 6K run at the weekend. So Monday is double athletics after school. Tuesday is run club before school, run club after school. Wednesday is double track session for him. Thursday is judo. Friday is run club before school. Saturday is tennis. Sunday is swimming and sometimes a cross country.
And between you and James, you're taking the kids through all of this stuff, all right?
Yeah, and Granddad and Grandma help. So James's parents live a mile away.
Wow.
And they've got a really nice relationship. So it's really nice. So Granddad takes Annabelle to school every morning, and James takes George. So I come in here early and train, and then tonight I am working late, but often I'll then finish. So if I start my day early, I can then pick them up from school and then take them to the clubs. We have a WhatsApp group between obviously like Grandma and Granddad and James and I, and it's just like I'll write at the beginning of the week if they could help out on these different times. Because on Wednesday, for instance, George has a track session in one town, but Annabelle starts ballet in another town at the same time. So Granddad always takes George to athletics, then he drives him back. I come back from ballet, pick George up at home, go back to ballet, pick Annabelle up, then we go on to his next track session, and it's almost like a minute by minute operation.
Yes, that was a good one. Look at that, it's on the money.
I mean, I'm just happy I'm hitting it. It's been 2 years.
Looks all right, to be fair. Swing's good.
I think obviously having Anthony as my coach as well, and it gives you accountability.
Yeah.
I think every coach, even if you're a coach yourself, I think having a coach just...
It's not a weakness, right? Showing that you need someone to help you, give you that support.
No, it gives me two extra eyes on what I'm doing. Picks up on weaknesses maybe I wouldn't pick up on. You know that he's going to be looking at every single split that I send him. And on that, on that 9th one today, making sure it was just as good as all the others and that you haven't dropped off, because I don't want it to not look, when someone else is looking at it. And even though I always hold myself accountable, I think on the days when you're particularly tired or your motivation is down, having somebody else there will just keep you a little bit stricter. So
I think having a coach is another opportunity to learn, right? I would rather do like practical learning, like having a coach and bouncing ideas and learning from someone who knows more about me, because knows more about these situations than you do,
And I've learnt so much from him in the HYROX world, because just because I train HYROX, I doesn't mean I'm actually coaching HYROX.
Yeah.
And I quite like everyone. I get quite a lot of, can you coach HYROX? Yes, I mean, I can obviously coach to a certain ability. Do I want to coach HYROX all the time? No.
No.
Because I train it, I compete in it. Actually, it's quite nice to do something different outside of that. So where I'm with like my golfers and things like that, a lot of my golfers don't want golf-specific training we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
They actually just want to train, or they want to do something different, because I guess it's the same as me not wanting to work in HYROX all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite nice doing the golf thing. For them, their training sometimes coming away from golf a little bit, you can still give them the benefits of, you know, doing deadlifts and squats and
all transferable,
like,
right?
Yeah, it's all transferable. But I don't obviously talk about it all day, but sometimes when I go home, James is really into HYROX, my husband, and he'll go, "Oh, look at this like YouTube thing that I found." He's like, "Should we watch this HYROX?" And
This video.
And sometimes I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I totally get it.
And my other thing, which probably sounds quite selfish, is that when I go to a race, like when you go to a race and you've got X amount of clients there, you're going to feel like you need to be present for them, or if they want to talk to you. And it's not, I don't want to talk to anyone.
You're there for yourself,
but
fundamentally.
on race day, I'm just there for me. So my energy is for that.
Yeah.
Whilst if you think about being in the venue for maybe 4 or 5 hours before your race, how draining that can be before you race. Mm-hmm. So I quite like keeping it separate.
I did the last London Olympia event, and I was there all 3 days, and I wasn't competing until Monday at 8 p.m. And I remember I was with Tony, and we were both warming up, and he'd been the same. And I was like, I can't be bothered today. Like, I'm so over being here. And we came second. We stood an okay performance, but you could tell at the start. I remember literally turning to him about run 3. I was like, not feeling this one today. Trying to run a 3:25 split, and I'm like, not really feeling this today. One thing I don't know. So how did you first get into HYROX? And like, what was your first race? I don't actually know your like first race experience or anything.
So my friend Kat said, "Do you want to try this thing called HYROX? It's like a doubles." So we did a doubles. I think we came third.
Nice.
And
where was that?
Excel.
Okay. Yep.
And then I said to her, "Should we do another one?" And she said, "I think you need to go on your own. You're a little bit too fast running." And I kept saying, no, I want to do a doubles again. And then her and my friend Annabelle sort of kind of pushed and said, no, go solo. So I did London Excel Open.
Yep.
And
what year was that?
I want to say 2022.
Okay, yeah.
And I won the whole thing in the open category.
What kind of time do you remember? Wouldn't be anywhere near. Yeah, I was about to say it wouldn't be anywhere near the times that win it now, probably.
And that was sort of my first experience of HYROX. And then I think that was my only open. And then I went
straight into the pro.
Yeah, went into the pro in Barcelona. And I think my first pro was like a 106.
Wow. So not much difference between open and pro for the first race. Pretty cool.
And then it's just gone from there, really. But it's nice to race a little bit less this season. So when I was lower down and having to try and keep a time in or get a time in, I was racing more, but then you're waiting for a roll down spot, not knowing if you're going to get a roll down spot. Then they offer you one, you think, oh, I've only raced 2 weeks before, but you're not going to turn it down.
Yeah.
So the race volume last year was more.
Much higher. You got that once you qualified, because you qualified in Hong Kong, so you've got that guaranteed world champion, and it's up to you then what you want to do really race-wise, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's nice to have the option if you wanted to play around in Vegas and Glasgow with different strategies or try something new, because it's technically a free race. I think it's important to still go to those races because it's always a valuable experience. You can always learn something from a race and you can test things out. And just lining up with those ladies is, to be honest, there's only so many opportunities you're going to get to do it. You never know if it's going to be your last race due to injury. So every time I'm offered it, if I can get to that race, I'll go, because I never want to look back in a few years' time and go, oh, I wish I'd done that. So no, and I've actually just had permission from the schools So my children can come to Glasgow.
Are you? Oh, amazing.
So they are. I told them yesterday, and they're
Excited?
so excited. So I'll go up on like Monday, and James will fly up with them on the Wednesday.
Ah, sick.
And so they're going to come to the race.
Oh, that'd be really cool. They've been to a major yet? They came to the World Champs, didn't they?
They came to World Champs. I don't know if they've seen me in any other Elite 15. Probably not, because they've been quite far away. But they obviously saw Nice.
Yeah.
And they were there then.
I was watching it with them. They were amazing to see.
So yeah, and George always says to me, "You can never quit because you won't know how the story ends."
Okay, like that.
That's my thing when I'm on course. You don't quit.
Wise head on a young man's shoulders. That. Amazing.
So yeah, he's my little voice in my head. So when people say, like when you go into that dark hole or when it gets tough, where do you go? He's where I go.
That mindset thing we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
So what's next then? What's the goal like for this? Where do you want to go?
I just want to do the best that I can.
So what's the goal for Worlds?
I was top 6. I was 6th last year. So
second at one point.
Yeah, that was a bit of a shock.
I think everyone was. I came out from getting food, and someone was like, "Do you know Kate's second?" I was like, "What?" Like not in like, but it just wasn't expected, was it? And I don't think you were expecting to be in that position either.
No. So just try and better what I did last year.
Top 3.
I'm going to try my best.
Yeah, I love it. Definitely.
So Zara and I are going to try and qualify. Paris or London, depending on her schedule and what works for her.
Yeah. And you guys have got to be. I mean, you won the doubles worlds last year. Did you win outright last year? Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be on the verge then.
And in Amsterdam, we ran a 55, 50. I want to say 7. It could be 58.
Just solid.
I don't know.
Solid.
So just under a 56 we ran. It's the second fastest time ever run on doubles.
Amazing.
In like the pro doubles. So.
That felt nice. Oh, he's gone over the top. I think 100. It's a draw. Oh, he's got it. Good game. I enjoyed that. So thank you very much for today, Kate. You've destroyed me with that training session. I'm definitely going to need a rest day tomorrow. I don't think I've ever done that volume of wall balls with a 9. So
it was fun.
You're going to get me better at it, right? No, I think it's great. It's great to see like where you work. Like I didn't realise. Obviously, I've seen the gym, but I've never seen like all of this as well, which is incredible. So thanks so much. We've got an exciting episode coming up in a couple of weeks' time with. But apart from that, I think that's everything until next time. Thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you.
Boom.